Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's Dallas Social Toastmasters. We are at, let's see, June 18th right now. And of course, we're still virtual. I'm going to be the meeting facilitator for this evening. So if you have any questions or problems, Mark Schroeder, that's who you reach. I'm also going to be a speaker. I may ask somebody to take over that while I am the speaker, just in case somebody has a problem. Let's see, anything else? We are recording the meeting, of course, so just be aware of that. I think that pretty much covers everything except for going over very quickly how to get to our agenda for the evening. So let me share my screen. The agenda, of course, this is our website, DallasSocialToastmasters.com. If you just go there, click on the members section, that'll bring you to this page. Go down to Club Flyers and Announcements, which is where we're putting our meeting agendas for right now. And then go to the one for 6/18, the PDF. It looks like that, which I can put down because I've got another copy right here that will be the copy that I'm going to be working off of for the rest of the evening if I have any questions. Feel free to bring one of those up if you need to in order to keep track of the meeting as it progresses. With that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our invocation and pledge and Toastmaster for the evening, Dagan Newland. Dagan.
All right, well, welcome to another meeting of Dallas Social Distancing Toastmasters. My theme tonight is scams. So I'm going to talk about different scams and kind of what to look for. But before we get to that, I just want to go over the duty holders first so they can, ding me or whatever case may be. So the first duty holder tonight will be our timer. It will be done by Rob Giles. So Rob, please explain your role.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. As timer, I will be timing prepared speeches, table topics, and the evaluator. And for the prepared speeches, I will be going, I think is it 5 to 7 minutes, Mark?
It's going to be 6 to 8 from Mark.
I'm sorry. So 6 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, I decided to make it 6 to 8.
Which means that he will see a green card, or in this case, I'm going to actually do a background. So once you meet your minimum time, in this case, 6 minutes, Mark, you're going to see, hopefully that'll be not too bad. Hopefully I'll actually go for a backup, but I think that you should be able to get that. Yellow when you meet 7 minutes, and then red when you get to 8 minutes. At that point, you'll have 30 seconds to finish up. And then for table topics, at 1 minute, you'll meet your qualifying time at 1 minute. And that's when you will see green. And yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pull up a card. No, but I have those at backup. And then yellow for 1 minute, 30 seconds. And red for 2 minutes, at which point you have 30 seconds to follow up or to finish up and quarter to qualify on time. And then finally, the evaluator, a green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then red at 2 or 3 minutes, in which case you have 30 seconds to follow up in order to qualify. As you know, timing is important. We all have to learn to speak in a defined amount of time. Can't, like some of our members, yours truly, can't just go on and on, but that's why I'm here to help you do that. And just pay attention to the green, the yellow, and the red, and I will give the report.
All right, thank you, Rob. For Posture Bell, we're not going to have a Posture Bell this evening, so we're going to move on to our all counter, which is going to be Karen Lee. Karen Lee, can you explain your role?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, I will be listening for any long pauses or ahs or ums during the meeting, and I will make note and I will give a report when called upon. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Our next duty holder is going to be our vote counter. It's going to be Marsha Collins. Can you please explain your role?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, and welcome if we have any guests. No, I signed on a little late. Sorry about that. As vote counter this evening, I will accept votes through the private chat to myself and count the votes after the audience votes for best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and the best of the big three. The big three are the Toastmaster, the table topics master, and the general evaluator. I will record which person wins in each category. I will not cast a vote myself, except in the case of a tie, in which I will cast a vote to break the tie, but I will not announce a tie vote. Again, you're going to place your vote to me by sending it in the chat. And at the end of the meeting, I will announce the winners. And you also may send comments to each speaker, the evaluator, and the table topics participant by sending a private chat message to them directly. Mr. Toastmaster?
Thank you. All right, grammarian, I'm performing the role of grammarian, and as grammarian, it's kind of twofold. One is to keep track of the usage of the English language, whether that be good or bad. And the second thing is to introduce the word of the day, which is deception. I know it kind of fades off, but I'll take my background screen off during table topics so you can see it. But the word is deception. It's a noun. It's the act of deceiving, or the state of being deceived, or something that deceives or is intended to deceive. When it comes to the word of the day, if you can, you can try to use it throughout the meeting, but you must use it during the table topics portion of the meeting for one of the reasons to qualify for a ribbon or to win the table topics. All right, and now I'll give my report when called upon at the end of the meeting. All right, let's get into the scams. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Rob for sending some fraudulent emails that he got for me to go over. But first, I'm going to share my screen. So I can't share my screen, Mark. It says host disabled, participating screen sharing.
1 second. It's actually supposed to be enabled. Maybe they changed settings on me. Please hold. Profile.
In the meantime, I'm going to go over you. Actually, I got a couple of possible text spams or scams. So I'm going to show those first. Then I'm going to go and prepare a speech. And by the way, I see John did not make it tonight, so it'll only be Mark speaking. So just so you know, Marcia, that we'll only be voting for table topics in the best of big three because there's only one speaker and there's only one evaluator. But you can still send comments to any of these people too as well. Then after the speech, I'm gonna go over the emails that Rob sent me and show you what to look for.
You can try again.
Yes. All right, so scams and what to look for. Can people see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, just want to make sure. All right, the first one I want to talk about is one text that I got actually fairly recently. And that is, as you can see right here, it says, Dagan, the arrest rate for carrying a gun in Texas is shocking. Your CCW application is still pending. It also gives me a link to click on in my phone, and that says add 852. Also, concealed carry license, those are good in Texas, but I just thought this was, could be a scam just because it's a text and it's a strange email address where it's been sent from, 5152224f at nkvowels.com. So I just thought that was fishy. The second one is even more prevalent. This one is coming from a phone number. And it says, shipped. Your Amazon package with a $100 loyalty reward will be delivered Tuesday, June 16th, Dagan. Then it has a link for me to click. Well, now, obviously, I do have an Amazon account. You know, I do buy things, but I know I wasn't supposed to receive anything recently, and I know, why would somebody be sending me a $100 reward, a loyalty reward? So this is, you know, obviously a scam too. So what things that I look for, you know, like text messages, you know, things that just don't look, you know, out of shape. You know, for example, you know, you could get one like this and you don't have an Amazon account, or things like that, like a concealed handgun license, you know, just things that just randomly come to your phone. You know, in this case, you know, you got these kind of fishy and you don't want to click on it. So, but if you do think it could be legit, the better option is to actually, you know, go into your account, because if they send you a text and it's legit, you probably find the same information within the account itself. All right, so now we're going to move on to our prepared speeches, but let me stop sharing my screen first here. All right. Oh, Mark stepped away. That's what we're about to get to him.
I guess we'll have to pause for a minute.
Well, no, you know, I'll go back and go over one of these emails Rob sent. So the email, I'm going to show you a snapshot. I kind of this email that Rob sent. Here's the email, and I copied it from the email and pasted it into Word. So basically, this is supposedly from Apple. If you see in the very top here, from Apple, it says digital, no reply at, you know, blah, 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 .apple.com. But right off the bat, you know, that at part with the RB7P, that'd be suspicious, because, you know, legitimate Apple.com email is not going to have that, you know, special characters in there. You know, it's got subject case ID, then it says notice billing issues. It says, dear customer, due to a problem with the payment method you provided, we can charge your account. If you don't update your information within 24 hours, your Apple ID will be permanently locked. And visit this link here to unlock your account. Now, Rob said he does not have an Apple account, so that's obviously, he knew that was a scam, you know, right off the bat, because, you know, he didn't even have an Apple account. But you also know there's contractions. You know, a lot of legitimate companies are not going to use contractions. They're actually going to spell it out, you know, could not or do not. If you notice this right here where the Apple ID will permanently be locked, it's kind of got the red underscore there. Well, that's telling me it's misspelled. Now, his original email, it looks like it's spelled correctly, but when I copied and paste here, it actually says, you know, APP, that's the capital IE, then the 1D, then W, I, capital I, and then permanently the L is I, and then locked it, the L is a capital I. So in the course of me copying and pasting into Word, I guess it read it correctly. So there's obviously mistakes there. So that's one thing you want to look out for emails is, you know, proper pronunciation of the words, or proper spellings, and they don't use contractions. And also, I have a Norton account, my Norton security account. When I go into email, it actually highlights suspicious links. So when I open up Rob's email, it automatically highlighted the link right there and tell me, when I put my cursor over it, it said it could be malicious. So having programs to help you with this is also beneficial. All right, now that Mark's back, we're going to move on to our prepared speeches, or prepared speaker, I should say. And evaluating him tonight is going to be Lee King. So Lee, can you explain how he's going to be evaluated?
Yes, Mark will be speaking from the advanced manual, Speaking to Inform. doing project number 3, the demonstration talk. He really has 2 objectives for this evening. His first objective is to draft a speech in which he will demonstrate something for us. And then finally, his second objective is to actually give the speech, where he is using demonstration skills and demonstrating a process. His time is 6 to 8 minutes. Megan, you're on mute.
All right, thank you, Lee. So let's welcome our prepared speaker, Mark Schroeder, with Keep Your Passwords Safe. Keep your passwords safe, Mark Schroeder. You're on mute, Mark.
There we go.
Mark, there you go.
Yeah, I had to stop the share in order to get off of mute. Sorry. All right, thank you, Dagan. Tonight I'm going to talk about how to keep your passwords safe. A lot of us, because of all the internet stuff that we do, especially during this particular time when we're at home and all of the internet orderings, we end up having to keep a lot of passwords, and it's very, very easy to forget passwords. The algorithm, go to the web page and click the forgot my password. That is not the best way to keep your password safe. So I want to give you some criteria for how to keep your password safe and demonstrate one of the password keepers. In particular, there are certain properties that a password keeper, at least for me, should have in order to be a good password keeper. It's obviously got to be secure. If it isn't secure, what's the point? And the most important thing about security is there are algorithms out there, the ones used by the Department of Defense and some other things. They're called AES, DES, Twofish. There are a bunch of different algorithms, and they are standard and they are known to be secure. The moment you get with a vendor who says that they're using their own encryption algorithm, run for the hills, because there's a really good chance that it's going to be crackable. It's just very, very difficult to do that right, and to do it in a way that it can't be cracked. You want to go with something that has been vetted by a larger community. For me, it's very important to have the ability to import my passwords, because, well, if I ever have to put passwords back in, or if I ever decide to go to a different password keeper, I want to be able to put them in all at one time, not one at a time. That requires that I be able to export my passwords. So I've got to have a way of getting them out and of backing them up. And this is in 2 different ways, really, because I want to be able to back them up, in a sense, encrypted, so that I can put them back in, but at the time that they're backed up, they're safe. But I really have to be able to get them back in the clear so that I can read them too, just in case. Because you never know when something is going to go awry and your password keeper by one particular vendor may stop working. I've listed here operations on application failure. If the password keeper that you're using is built by one company and only one company can ever read that kind of file, you're at the mercy of that company to either start charging you or, even worse, to go out of business. And I've had that happen at least once, where one of my password keepers was no longer supported. So pick something that is available on more than one platform or even more than one program. The one I'm going to talk about tonight is available in a lot of locations, and I'll mention that when I get there. Which password keeper do you need? Well, it depends upon where you want your passwords. Is it enough to have them just on your phone? Do you need them on a tablet as well? Do you want them on a PC or a Mac? If you need them in all of those places, then you need a password keeper that hopefully goes across all of those different devices, because otherwise you've got to enter your passwords every time. If you're okay with getting it off your phone and then typing it in, that's great, knock yourself out. But a lot of us don't like doing that, typing it in multiple times on different devices. I like to have one file that I can put on all of them and have it work. And finally, the question, of course, is where is your password database stored? Most password keepers have got the option of either keeping it local on your device, like on your phone or on your PC, or in many cases, they can keep it on the web. If it happens to be something like the product called LastPass, LastPass keeps your passwords for you. but a lot of the others will get the passwords that you have from, oh, for instance, Dropbox. Dropbox is a very typical place. Or in the case of some of the Apple ones, from iCloud, you can actually store your passwords there. That is another option. So those are the criteria that I look for in a password keeper. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and share a different way. I'm going to share from my phone. One moment, please. Great. So the password keeper that I use is one that's based on KeePass. I've already started it. While you're not seeing exactly what I see, I actually see a keypad with digits on it and 4 characters. And so I'm going to type in my password. That brings me into my password database. I've got a test one in here with test data so that I don't expose any of my real data. So all I'm going to do is click on the third one, which is MAS Test DB. And it's doing a Face ID. It recognized my face because I'm on an iPhone. And what you're going to notice here is that we have different types and categories of passwords. So if I click on email, for instance, I have a Gmail and a Yahoo account. Going back for financial, I may have a Wells Fargo account. And if we go to internet, I have Amazon and my PO Box accounts. So you can classify all of your accounts by what they're intended for if you choose to do that. And you can make your own groups. You can make your own groups or categories. You can get rid of the ones that are here, rename them, whatever you need to do. No problem with that. If you're looking at, for instance, email, each one of these is an entry. And when you look at an entry, what you find, you typically find 5 fields. You find a title. Title might be something like Gmail or Bank of America or Wells Fargo. The username is actually the username that you're going to type in, your account. The password, which you're not seeing here, I see stars, you're not even seeing that. But the password is going to be the password for the account. You'll see a URL, which is where you would go to log in, if you want to put that in here. And then you'll see a comment section. Comment section is where I list other things about the account, including in particular things like whether or not I have a set of questions like, you know, who is your father? What is your mother's maiden name? All of those kind of questions that you have to answer sometimes to get back into your account. And for something like this, if I merely tap on the password field, notice how it says copied? It has now put that on the clipboard for me so that I can go paste that into another app when I log in. The same thing is true if I actually hit the I on the right. It will then display what the password is so that I can see it. And again, this is not real account data. It's a fake, but you can see it's MAS Test 1. So if it's one that I feel like I want to type in, I can go do it from there. That is at least an option that I have. The nice thing about this particular one, it is called KeePass, and KeePass is a database format that is open, not proprietary, it's open. So there's at least 3 or 4 apps on the iPhone that will read this data. There are at least 2 or 3 on the PC. There's at least 2 I know of on the Mac. Basically, wherever you are, on Android, there's at least 3 or 4, I think, on the Android. So if any of those apps ever stops working, I've got more than enough places to go get my data back. I will never lose my data. I will never be stuck in the situation where an app where a company went under and no longer supported the app. And as a result, I could no longer get to my data. So those, I think, are particularly important things to be able to consider when you are looking at keeping track of the data that you're trying to do for your password keeper. An app that runs every place you need it, that provides you the necessary security that is standard and going to work and be safe, so that the only thing you really have to worry about is, did they implement the algorithm correctly? Whether or not you put the data in the cloud is up to you. That depends upon how secure a password you put on your data. If you put a secure enough one, perhaps Dropbox is good enough. I tend to keep my data on my own devices, but these are all choices that a good password keeper will allow you to make for yourself. Dagan.
Thank you, Mark. So if anybody has any comments from Mark, please send him a private chat with any comments you may have. All right, I'm going to share my I'm going to share my screen again to go over another one of Rob's emails he sent. And here's a copy of the email itself, just for you to look at it. I'm going to break down some of the information out of it. Here in my, sorry, that's all. All right, so the main thing I'm going to look at, show you, is the shipping address. You can see the shipping address says 13, Wells Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, and the zip code. Well, first of all, addresses do not have a comma right after the number. So that's one thing that's suspicious about it already. I did bring this up on maps, and it is an actual address. Minus the comma, it's the actual address. And when you put on the view of the actual city, city view, looks like a pretty good neighborhood. But irregardless, obviously there should not be a comma after the number here. When it comes down to the amount and the tax, this item was $5,484.10. Now the tax was $412.89. Well, that does not break down to Texas state sales tax. So that's not correct amount of tax for Texas. If you think it may be for Delaware, because they're saying this item is being sent to Delaware, Delaware does not have a state tax at all. So that's another thing suspicious. When it comes to the order number over here, it has a 113 dash, another series of numbers. Well, I looked at my orders on Amazon, and currently they're in the range of 112. And the second set of digits, there's one too many digits, because all my order numbers only had seven digits. This has 8. So that's another thing that's wrong. When I actually got down, broke into this. And the third set of digits, that had the correct amount of digits. So this was another thing that was wrong. And another part of the email says, P.S. If you did not place this order, please call us on this phone number, Fraud Protection Team. Well, I can't be for sure on this one, but I would assume that a legitimate company like Amazon is not going to have a P.S. They're just going to say, if you did not place this order, please call us at this number. That's another thing to keep an eye out. And if you notice, the whole thing down here is, it says down here is kindly ignore if you already reported. Obviously, overall, this whole thing just looks suspicious with the comma, and when you first look at it, you probably wouldn't think about the tax, that situation. But being my background, I kind of want to look into that. So there's multiple things here that are kind of red flags. So the other things you want to look out for when you have scams, obviously you got text scams like I showed you earlier with the kind of malicious links, and the emails that Rob sent me for me to show you. They're emails, you got to look for misspellings, not using the right verbiage, just extra information that shouldn't be there. Whether, or even asking for money, and when it also comes to phone calls, people like around the income tax time, people will call you saying that they're from the IRS, saying there's something wrong with your refund. So you got to watch out for these kind of things, and it's really common sense. You just got to give your common sense a go, and just really think about it and say, places like the IRS, they're not going to call you. They'll send you something in the mail. And so that's the things you got to really watch out for. So I hope you found that information valuable. And on another note, like I said before, my Norton account. If you get something like Norton, I'm sure there's other programs out there like that, but you know, I subscribe to Norton, and like I said earlier, you know, they let me know if something in my email is fraudulent. It'll highlight it, and when I put my cursor over it, it said, you know, this could be malicious. And also, I want to add on to what Mark said in his speech about keeping your passwords safe. Norton also has that too for me. So, and Norton, you know, Norton's been around for a long time, so I don't know if they're going to be going around anywhere. And they have a password management tool also. They work across all my devices. You know, it's all linked together. So that's going to be into my presentation about scams. So we're going to move on to table topics. It's going to be performed by Nicholas Elwood. So take it over, Nicholas.
Thank you, Dagan. Table topics enables a member to develop the skills of really impromptu speaking. It helps train members to quickly organize and express their thoughts. You can think of this table topic exercise as a mini speech with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. This also provides a speaking opportunity for any member who is not on duty in the meeting agenda. Sorry for tonight. Everyone that's speaking is on duty, just because we didn't have enough members. Guests are also able to participate if they wish, but we don't have any guests tonight. Each speaker is required to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Participants are disqualified at 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And each speaker must use the word of the day. And today's word is deception. So on to the questions. Scams are everyone's worst fear, especially if you unknowingly fall for them. This question is for Marcia. Marcia, excuse me, was there a time you got scammed or were getting scammed, and what happened?
Just a quick reminder to make sure that you have your timer, Rob Giles, visible during your speech.
Good evening, all. Yes, there was a time I was scammed. Kind of costly, $1,000. One year, my husband and I went to the Texas State Fair, and there was a company there that was selling various products, sheds, and the spas, the sauna. And well, let me just go ahead and say their names. It was Morgan's Sheds, okay? And great salespeople, spent a lot of time with us. My husband had been wanting a shed for a long time. And so we went ahead and we did a deposit. We put down $1,000. And lo and behold, when the day came for delivery to begin, the job, they called us and there was like, oh, there's a delay, you know, because of the weather in China, that's where the steel is coming from. So we're gonna have to push it back. And so it pretty much went from what we made the purchase around in October or so, which was supposed to happen in December, then it went to January, then it went to March. And so trying to talk to them was very, very hard. And then when I did finally get a chance to talk to a live person, their conversation with me, the things that they had to say, their practices as a whole, I had to just let them know that it was very deceptive. And it was very, very difficult, very challenging to get any kind of response for them. And ended up happening, they went out of business. And based on that fine little print down at the bottom of the contract, it was a non-refundable deposit. And that just led us to, you know, really realize, be careful of these contracts, really read your contract, and really do the research first on the company. We even drove by to where it was, and it was totally like a ghost town. So yes, it was a lesson learned. It hurt, but yes.
Wow, that's a crazy story. I can't believe that they did that and were able to get away with it. You know, hopefully and it sounded like you learned a valuable lesson there. So scams are, on to the second question, scams are becoming more and more prevalent in our modern age. With 3 clicks of a button, a scammer can goad you into buying or giving away information that you don't really want to. This next question is for Karen. Karen, have you ever taken steps to prevent people from scamming you?
Oh, the question is, have I taken steps to prevent people from scamming me? I have put special programs on the computer to keep from getting viruses on the computer. And I don't usually don't answer the phone to people that I don't know. And lately the phone has said spam risk on the different, I have where certain calls come in and they say spam risk, because certain callers want to cause deception to people when they call, and they want to rip people off. But I have also let's see. I've also just want to be careful, and I talk over decisions with my relative, usually my sister, to make sure I'm making sound decisions. So, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Karen. That's just like everyone else, I think. And we all, once we see somebody scamming us, we always want to figure out ways to prevent that. And then getting a spam risk call or taking preventative measures in your emails and such is always a good thing to do. So I was taking a look at the Federal Trade Commission's website, or the FTC, and there's over 30 scams mentioned on the front page. I'll list 3 scams on there from the following. There was online dating, funeral scams, and imposter scams. Obviously, every scam is very bad. This question is for Lee. Lee, out of these 3 scams, the online dating scams, funeral scams, and imposter scams, which is the worst in your opinion?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I don't know that there is one that's worse than the other. I think that all 3 of those hit people at times in which their anxiety is high. They are not necessarily focusing on everything. And I think that there's definitely a larger margin in which fires or remorse could occur. In essence, I believe that with all 3 populations, deception is common and it is unfortunate. I will tell you that I personally feel like maybe I'm somewhat of a scammer in some ways. When my wife likes to take full benefits of anything that's free or significantly reduced costs. And so the one thing that my wife and I have done a couple of times actually is go on vacations in which you get a free night stay or several night free stay to go listen to a timeshare presentation. And my wife and I have no desire to even listen to the timeshare. We have no desire or intent on buying anything, but we do enjoy the freebies. So from time to time, we will go on vacation and we just build in the couple of hours of presentation into our schedule, and we get the free gifts and walk away, and we know the whole time that we're not buying a thing. And oddly enough, we were at a presentation one time, and the timeshare owner had been doing it for years and years, and he just simply said, if you're here to get the free stuff, please just let me know so I can give you your stuff and we can move on. I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time. Back to Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Lee. I have to be in agreement with you on, especially when I'm going on trips abroad. I love seeing what little trinkets and stuff they have there, because there's always an opportunity to get something that's valuable, but you can get it for a very minimal price. For our last question or topic, I know from looking online, especially recently, for items like weights, hand sanitizer, and other essentials / non-essentials, that there are plenty of people thriving right now on scamming others by posting these types of items on Facebook, Craigslist, all these different websites for people to buy. This question is for Rob. Rob, have you seen an ad like this, but it looked really fake to you? And tell me about it.
Thank you, Mr. Topic Master. I don't know if somebody wants to time for me. Right now I'm at about 5 seconds, but I've got it timing, so I'll know. These types of scams where you're taking a product and taking advantage of really, I guess, society in general, and the panic that kind of Lee alluded to, the high anxiety that's involved in all of it, where people are desperate to grab something, take it before that price even rockets higher. And I myself haven't fallen for any of that, and I haven't actually taken that. Now, if you look up back behind me over here at the top, toward the top of my screen, there's something that Mark had alluded to a couple of weeks ago and then again last week, that I'm stashing toilet paper. Now, technically that's not toilet paper, although in desperate times it might be. Overall, I didn't rush out to grab things. I didn't rush out to get things. So I wasn't as eager as maybe some of these other people are or could be. And it's sad that we're in that situation. You don't know what the future might hold. So you may have to go out and get them. And like I said, some people, I got to get it now because maybe they're not going to be available, or maybe the price is going to skyrocket extremely high out of my ability to pay for something, $2,000 for some hand sanitizer. But for me, I guess probably I take more of a calm approach in regard to a lot of that. And I figure I'm not going to pay that much for that. I don't care if, I'll find another way to sanitize myself. I'll find another way, like I said up here, another way to work it out. But overall, I myself, I've never really fallen for any of that, and I haven't really gotten myself involved in that. I can definitely sympathize and empathize with the people who may be thinking that they're forced into that and take advantage of that. And it's sad that you have people out there that will do that. But overall, it's not me. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, or Topic Master.
Thank you, Rob. That's good that you haven't fallen for that stuff, and there are a lot of people that definitely have, especially nowadays. I saw something, I believe it was on Facebook, or I never checked my Facebook, but it was somewhere online, and it was for weights, for dumbbells, and they were $600 or $700 for a few pairs of weights. And I was like, either this is just getting absurdly upcharged right now due to COVID-19, no one being able to go to the gym, or it's a scam artist looking to just absolutely rip someone off. So that was an interesting experience, I have to say. Well, that's it for the questions for the day. And Mr. Timer, did all of our participants qualify on time?
Mr. Topic Master, all contestants qualified on time.
Perfect. Mr. Grammarian, did all of our speakers use the word of the day, deception? You didn't? Oh, Rob did not.
I didn't use it, but everybody else did.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I'll make sure, because you cut out a couple times on my end, Rod, so I don't make sure. So, all right, so everybody used the word of the day. Actually, Marshall actually used deceptive, but we'll take it.
Yeah, that counts.
So, yes, Marsha, Karen, and Lee used the word of the day.
Great. Thank you, Dagan. Now take this time to think about or vote for your favorite table topic speaker. And then once you have a choice, then send that to our vote counter. And then now I'm going to return control of the meeting to our Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster.
I'm sorry, Marcia's vote counter, correct?
Yes, Marcia is our vote counter for this evening.
Okay, perfect. So set whoever you thought was the best table topic speaker, send it to Marcia tonight.
All right. So I was going to tell you about a scam I had. I saved this in case I got asked a question, because I figured it'd be on the topic. Remember a long time ago when I was on eBay, I don't use eBay much anymore, but I bought a laptop a long time ago, and I just, after I bought it, something just hit me. It was kind of weird, because when I was actually first looking at the laptop, it had a link to go, link for the website and everything, and so I clicked on the link, checked things out, and it looked pretty legit and everything like that. So I decided to buy it, but then the next day I just something came over me and thought something wasn't right. So, just for some reason, it's like a sixth sense. But anyway, I go back to that posting, click on that link, and it's no longer there to that website. So I said, sure enough, this has got to be a scam. Somebody posted a laptop on eBay to sell it and just get somebody's money. So I opened up a thing through PayPal and told them what was going on. And luckily, I guess obviously when you pay somebody's money through PayPal, I guess it gets hold of for a little bit of time. So luckily I was able to get all my money back except for $50. So it wasn't too bad. So I was happy. At least I got most of my money back, because it's like, I think it's like $1,100, $1,200 laptop that I was trying to buy. So luckily I came out okay on that one. So we're gonna move on now to our general evaluation section of the meeting, and that's going to be Rob Giles. So Rob, take it away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. As your general evaluator, my duty is to evaluate the meeting as a whole and introduce the speaker.
Sorry, Rob, you're breaking up.
Okay, am I okay now?
You are okay now.
Okay, maybe I go at a slower pace, and maybe that'll work out. Hopefully, I don't need to do something with my service provider for sure.
That was
But
okay though.
I will evaluate the meeting as a whole. I will introduce the evaluator for the prepared speech tonight, and then also I will have the duty holders bring their reports for the evening as well. So first, the evaluator for the prepared speech. We had Mark Schroeder giving his prepared speech about keeping passwords, and his evaluator for the evening is Mr. Lee King. Lee?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and most especially Mark. Mark, it was great to have the opportunity to evaluate you this evening and learn more about ways in which we can protect our passwords. Very important speech, a lot of great information. And I also felt like the speech was very timely, because definitely I think more people are spending time online and therefore open to the opportunities in which they will have to use passwords to get into different things. I think the thing that you did the best with this presentation was definitely navigating the technology and using the screen share. You did that very effectively. You also gave a lot of information in a very short amount of time, but in a way in which all of us could easily understand it. And you didn't really sell one particular product. You mentioned that there are many products out there, and what you were showing us was just simply one of them. So it was not a sales pitch, which could easily have occurred. So as far as your objective of doing a demonstration speech, I definitely felt like you had met your objective in this speech. About the only thing that I could really suggest, I think, to improve your speech would be to perhaps have some photos of the things that you were showing us where it would show you, for example, if you click on the eye, you can see the password. And that's probably in promotional literature somewhere. So perhaps toggling between a screen share and a PowerPoint presentation, just so that we can actually see something. Because I noticed frequently as you were demonstrating something, we couldn't see it. Even if when you said that a certain field would have stars or something like that, we didn't see the stars. So it looked like nothing was really happening, although I know that you were doing something. But that would really be my only suggestion, is just how to somehow illustrate what's happening when we can't see it. Overall, great speech. You definitely met your objectives, and I look forward to seeing another demonstration speech from you while we are here on Zoom. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Salee. At this point, I'm going to give my overall evaluation and an opportunity to evaluate me. So never going to come out, and I'd like to talk about this.
Hold for just 1 second. It's almost like it's buffering. Try now.
Okay, so I like to start off at the beginning of the week where we have the agenda, or the lineup, I should say, come out on Saturday. And Toastmaster this particular week and did the thing that you're exactly supposed to do, is reach out, say, hey, can somebody else please take this role? Or to come to me specifically and say, hey, I can't take it. And then at that point, I'll reach out to somebody. But we had that happen, and we had somebody jump in immediately, and that was Dagan and Lead, so they swapped spots. And great, perfect execution with that, and I greatly appreciated that, and I think that our club benefited from that. Everybody followed up, and they continued to put out their confirmations, or if they weren't able to make it, and we had some people that weren't able to make it from the beginning, and actually throughout the entire week as we moved closer to tonight. So we had good responses in that regard. So I felt really great about that. And Dagan did a great job with adjusting and balancing what roles people were going to have and who was going to take over for what and do which role in order to have the meeting represented as fully as possible. So I thought Dagan did a great job with that. The theme, as I think Mark and Lee kind of alluded to, is that it was very appropriate, especially for these times, and our topic master, Nicholas, as well. The theme, we get scammed, and we are online more, and our information is out there more. So a lot of that has an opportunity to be filtered to the wrong person, or somebody comes in and they get you to give out information that you shouldn't be giving out. So very, very appropriate for everybody here, as well as all of our family and friends and everybody out there. So great theme. You had some great points, some good examples. You showed them on the screen, sharing the screen. So you did a great job with that, Dagan. Nicholas, you did a fantastic job with connecting the table topic questions to the theme, and they were answerable questions. They were questions that were most likely going to be something that each of our members and each of our people in the audience tonight had some experience with in some way. So that we had that relatable aspect to it. You had good transitions in between, good comments in between each table topics question. So you did a great job with that as well. Our duty holders at the beginning of the meeting did a fine job with their descriptions of their duties. So great job there. Always important so that if we do have any guests, that they get the full explanation of what's going on with each person and their participation. Lee, you did a fantastic job with your evaluation tonight. Thought it was a bit succinct, but at the same time, I have to agree to some extent that there wasn't a lot of things that you can actually suggest for Mark to change or improve upon. Now, we all know that we can find those as we go along. If Mark looks back, he may find some things that he might want to change. And the benefit of this is that tonight we have things recorded, so he has the opportunity to do that, as well as you, Lee. You have an opportunity to go back and look at it and say, you know what, I probably would have suggested this if I could. But in real time, I thought you did a great job. It was, again, succinct, which actually is nice for our meeting every once in a while as well. You gave examples for the points that you did make, the positive and the negative, or I should say the constructive part. Now I'd like to move into our duty holders for the evening, and I want to ask our counter for your report for the evening, and that is Karen Lee. Karen, can you give us your report?
And I was chosen as the counter this evening. I was listening for ahs and ums and long pauses. And Dagan had several uhs and some you-knows. Marsha, I noticed about 4 uhs and several ums. I also noticed when I was giving my table topic that I wasn't recording myself, but I heard myself using uhs and ums. Rob, I've noticed 1 and 1 you-know. So, and that's my report. I'll give that back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Karen. We appreciate it. Next duty holder for this evening is going to be our grammarian, and that is Mr. Dagan Newland. Dagan, can you give us a report on grammar tonight?
That's pretty short and sweet. Everybody spoke the way they normally do, and I didn't see anything glaring outrageous or bad, other than I know I stumbled on several words and Nicholas stumbled on a couple words there, but other than that, everybody did really good. Back to you, Johnny Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Dagan. We appreciate it. I did want to mention one more thing before we get to our business portion of the meeting, and that was at the beginning of our meeting when Dagan was moving on and was going to move on to the prepared speech. Mark had to step away for a moment. Dagan, in good Toastmaster fashion, went and moved into another portion that he could continue on with the theme and continue on with his examples until Mark came back. So you did a great job with that, Dagan, as well. I appreciate that. At this point, I would like for you to vote for best of the big 3, and that is our Toastmaster, Dagan Newland, our topic master, Nicholas Elwood, or our general evaluator, Rob Giles. And please go ahead and send in private chat to Marcia Collins, who you thought did the best job of one of those big 3 positions. I do want to also note, and I say this because when I'm vote counter, I sometimes feel that there's a lack of voting in our group, in our club. If you are participating in something, you can still vote on it. Now, you know, whether you vote for yourself, if you do it for the right reasons, then that's fine. But please vote for all 3 or all 4 parts when there is votes. This way it gets a little bit more input and our meeting becomes a little bit more fully blossomed, I guess. At this point, I would like to pass the torch on to our club president. That is currently Mr. Lee King for the business portion of the meeting. Lee.
All right. A whole lot of new business going on. Just I think just really one minor thing, and that is, I believe Rob sent out an email earlier today about an upcoming speech-a-thon. So if you're wanting to give speeches, if you need to get that next educational level, please go ahead and join the speech-a-thon. Other than that, I really don't know if anything else going on at this time. I think that I know the COVID cases have been increasing, so I really don't foresee us going back to a zone anytime soon. And I will be your president for 2 more weeks. Mark Schroeder.
Yeah, I do have a question. I was just curious if anybody attended any of the meetings this last weekend,
I did not.
Friday and Saturday or whenever they were.
Rob did.
Yeah,
I popped on a few times too.
Okay, what did you think?
I was there for not for any of the speak-a-thon. I did come on for the area reports, and that was followed up, I believe, almost immediately with our keynote, or close to that. Our keynote speaker was coming on, and that was world champion of public speaking. I want to say it was Lance Miller is his name, from 2005. And he gave some great information. Seems like he has high expectations, and that's great because a lot of us are kind of good with status quo. So I think he did a lot of inspiring among the attendees. And I think if I was looking, I want to say it was up around 70 or more that were on when I was on. So it was a pretty good attendance as far as what I could see. But I really enjoyed what he had to say, and I don't know if that's documented anywhere, if that was recorded. I'm going to guess not. But
Well, if they were doing YouTube, if it was being streamed
that's
through
true.
YouTube,
Yeah, it was being live streamed on YouTube, so that was an added benefit. That's why I think I sent out an email follow-up saying, hey, if you want to just follow on YouTube instead of having to interact or feel like you might have to, you can just kind of pay attention and have that running in the background. But yeah, good point, Lee.
But on live streams on YouTube, you don't have to post the live stream. You can, because when you're live streaming, it's on YouTube. But after the live stream, it'll give you the option if you want to actually post it or not too.
Oh, so we don't know for sure whether but we could check at some point. We can check to see if that's on there, because if it is, what he had to say, which I wouldn't necessarily classify as a speech, but he had some good quality information in there and stuff that could inspire, I think.
Okay.
and Dagan, want to share your experience?
Oh, I know. I just kind of popped on a couple times, and when I popped on, people were giving their speeches. That's pretty much all I saw. Now, what I saw, I enjoyed. So that's all I really had to say.
Okay. All right. I do know that we should be getting more information here sometime soon about the TLI, which I believe large portions, if not all of it, will be online. So if you're an officer next time, go ahead and just keep an eye out. Does anybody else have anything? All right. Well, with that, let's hear from Marsha on who won tonight.
Alrighty. Okay. So for the table topics, we have Lee. And then for the best of the big three, we have Dagan. Sorry.
That one's tough when you're on ready to speak, and it actually happened that way. That was what I actually had.
The same thing because I got my work laptop here and there was a meeting going on. And people are coming in and out, and I had put it on speaker.
I don't know if any of you remember my first speech about facts about cats. The first one, not the second one. At some point, I think I said it's amazing, and of course, I had turned off like all of my echo stuff, but except for one, and turned one of them off, and it took that to be Amazon.
Oh no.
Or something like that, or maybe it was Echo, but it it took it in some way, because I don't think I said Alexis or anything close to that. But it took it, and if you hear, you can hear it in the background, and it's on the recording. So it stopped me for a split second. And I said, what do I do in this position? And I said, push on, keep going. Anyway.
That's it.
Well, back to you, Marcia. Anything else?
No, she told everybody he won.
It was a table topic and the best of the big three.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. As Zoom coordinator, I'm about to end the meeting in 3, 2,